hello to those who are joining. Welcome to the Programming and Computer Engineering session. Feel free to start sending us your questions and we will start doing a Q&A. We'll wait a few minutes and then we'll do some intros till we get a few more folks. I think I'm going to type welcome just so I don't have to keep saying welcome every couple minutes. Can you still hear me, Fanny?
I can, yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is a question. So for people who don't take a more traditional route to programming, what is the best way to showcase your work? Background, I am taking project code through the New York Public Library and learning on my own.
Do you want us to start answering? Do you want us to wait after intros?
Yeah, we only have a few people, so maybe let's push the intros. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Do you want to start?
I am gonna punt that one to you. I guess my response is really if you don't have a traditional route to programming, I don't think that's a barrier or anything. I think as far as showcasing your work, I mean, I'll let Fanny answer, but I work with people in computer engineering. I am actually a program manager, but there are ways to get online and share your information in communities and create your own content. And then you can go in and discuss, maybe discussion boards and actually share, like post your work in those discussion boards as well, is what I'm told. But I'll punt over to Fanny to see if she has any other input on that one.
Sure. I would say that, yeah, similar to how like an artist would do, it is very useful, like especially when you are just starting to have like a portfolio that you include with your
Mhm.
resume, like having an online web page where you can link to the projects that you have created. And that's usually what you want to showcase, right? Like I know like a couple of the best engineers that I know in my current team, they didn't like have a computer science background either. And the way that they got into the industry was by creating their own projects and
Mhm.
then just like letting people know about them on Twitter or like having their portfolios. And then they were noticed that way because they had very cool projects. And yeah, it's very important to include them on your resumes, especially if you cannot list like a computer science degree.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. And so just to add on to that one, are there any specific areas that you recommend for folks to go and create that content and share it and discuss it?
Sure, yeah. I would say if specifically for the games industry, I would say that there are so many tools out there that you can use. But especially, for example, Unity, it is free for you to just go and create your own personal projects that you are not going to profit from. So being able to create your own like mini game where you showcase gameplay ideas that you have, where you showcase the technology that you have learned, like that gives you a lot of visibility.
Mm.
Um, and there are other as well, like Unreal Engine is another one. And you can even start like little. There are games that allow you to dive into content creation as well. For example, Minecraft being one of them, but Roblox as well allows you to create your own games. So those are tools that you can definitely use and should leverage. And the nice thing, for example, about those tools is that there are tons and tons of tutorials online that you can follow and also learn. Like not just rely on the education that you are getting from somewhere, but like there's so many more information out there that you can leverage to build more, yeah, projects to showcase.
Cool.
Can read the next question if you want, Aisha. Greetings. I'm a junior in computer science at Northeastern State University, and I was wondering what if it is easy to transition from classroom projects to workforce projects. Is it difficult? I would say no. I mean, my experience at least at Microsoft was when I started. I mean, they know that you're a college graduate, right? You're a junior engineer. So they give you work according to that and help you learn. I mean, it can be a little bit scary. It was scary for me. Like I was learning some of the things that I did as a go. But the thing is that that will continue throughout your career.
Mm.
As you get new projects, as you grow in your career, you will get new projects where you will need to learn a new technology or a new system or to work with a specific type of person. So don't be scared about that. Like it is just growth opportunities and learning how to do it. But it's very similar as like a project that you did at school. Like you also didn't know how to write Java or C++ or whatever you were using, and you just learned to use it and started the project. So it's not very different or difficult.
Yeah. That's really good advice. I definitely will agree. As far as the continuous learning, like you're always going to be, I think in your professional life, I think, I work at Intel and I've been there 18 years, and I feel like every job that I've had there is just like there's some, bubble of new information or new skill sets, that I face that you just have to kind of have that mindset that I get to learn something new, and this is a new challenge. It's the best mindset to have for that. Yeah. Cool. All right. Should we do some intros real quickly here? Um, okay. So I'll start. So, like I just mentioned, I work at Intel. I've been at Intel 18 years. I currently work in a BIOS firmware software development role as a program manager. I have worked previously in a VR and gaming group. I was in that group for almost 3 years. Um, and I have to say that gaming is, it's obviously a very exciting and, really fun area to work in. And, obviously the people were really great, and that was great experience for me. Hence the reason I'm here. But yes, I'm definitely here to, answer your questions as far as just how to get your foot in the door. I have some tips as far as how to get your foot in the door and how to brand yourself when you're looking for that new role. And I'll hand off to Fanny.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Fanny. I currently work in Mojang Studios, so the studio that makes Minecraft. But like background starts in computer science. I started with a job back in Mexico. I'm originally from Mexico, where I didn't I didn't particularly enjoy that job. So I started to seek like ways to get into the industry, and the path that I took was getting a master's degree that was focused on gaming, on game programming, and it was on DigiPen Institute of Technology. That is a university here in Washington State. And that's what actually helped me get my foot into the industry because there's a lot of recruiting events that happened there. And I don't know, like the school is very well known in the area. And that's the path that I took. I started first in core publishing, which is we supported the creation of games like Rise, Son of Rome, Gears of War, Judgment, Sunset Overdrive, and I was part of the games test organization at that time. I was there for 2 years, and then since then I moved to work on Minecraft. I've been here almost 6 years, 5 years and a half, and I'm software engineer here. And then for the last 3 years, I think I've been a developer lead as part of the studio, mostly working with the creator community.
Cool.
All right. So one thing that we were told that we should remind you of is remember to post hashtag WGG on the chat if you are hearing, even if you don't have a question to post, because we will email you a gift card for anyone that participated on the panel.
Sounds good. All right. Should we just take turns reading questions? Because I see another one here.
Sure.
Okay. So thanks for the panel. How much weight does an active GitHub profile have versus personal projects in a portfolio?
You want me to take that one?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah. I would say both of them actually have a lot of weight as long as you showcase them. Uh, So having an active GitHub profile, I think it shows a lot about collaboration. If you're actually contributing to other, like for example, open source projects or anything, like it does help a lot see your enthusiasm and like willingness to help. But personal projects, specifically if they are on the area that you're applying for, like if you have a game or if you're applying to a, let's say, AI position, and then you said, oh, in this project, I actually created, I don't know, the whole navigation system for the mobs or something like that has a lot of weight with the experience and like tailored to that particular position that you are applying. So I would say that both of them have a lot of weight just in different kind of areas.
Mhm. Cool.
Oh, I'll read the next question. Have
Okay.
you ever had to relocate for a position? I definitely have.
Yeah.
I got my bachelor's degree back in Mexico, so it was various kilometers of relocation. I have
Mhm.
to say that it was scary at first, mostly because, yeah, I don't know, it wasn't just like a relocation within my country, right? It was a completely different country, completely different culture. So I would have to say that it took me a while to adapt. But yeah, I mean, in the end, it worked out. I think what helps a lot is just trying to make connections. That's what helped me the most. Like I made a very good friend while I switched, and I was super lucky that like the person that I was renting a room for, like he was also super helpful. So yeah, making personal connections in a new place helps a lot.
Yes, for sure. And I mean, my I have two relocations that I have done in the past. Relocated. I'm originally from California, so I relocated from California to Texas, and then from Texas to Oregon, where I am now. I think your opportunities as far as you know where you think you see yourself will be wider if you open yourself up to that opportunity to relocate. I know people who are very adamant in finding a role in their current location, and that's okay. Just really realize that that you're going to be limited in the number of opportunities, and maybe you won't find something that is really what you're looking for. So it's always good to cast the net wider, as wide as you can.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions for right now.
Looks like it.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a new one.
Oh, okay. All right. So forgot whose turn is it? Mine? Is it my turn or your turn to read?
I think it's your turn, sorry.
Okay. Okay, so when creating a portfolio, how should you present your programming projects? Is it all right if it's just on files on a flash drive, or is it better to upload to GitHub? I'll let
I
you.
would definitely say, yeah, having it online helps a lot.
Mm,
Because that way, I mean, when you are just presenting your resume and someone is reading it to decide if they should call you or not, like you won't have a flash drive to share with them. So if you have a link on your resume for your personal projects or your portfolio, it definitely helps a lot. So I would recommend having it online if possible. It doesn't have to be super fancy. Like when I did mine, I think I did like a template on WordPress or something. I was extremely simple. Like this project showcases this, I did this, and a video for it. At that time, like Git wasn't like that famous, so I didn't even show the code. But if you have that, it's even like brownie points.
okay, looks like we have another one here.
So you mentioned, Bonesha, I am currently at a point in my degree where I feel somewhat stuck. Do you want to elaborate? Actually, in this session, if you are comfortable with it, you can request sharing your video if you want to talk more about it, or feel free to post on the chat as well.
Mhm. Yeah, entirely up to you.
I'm not sure how it looks for you, but there must be a button
Yeah.
somewhere for share
Yeah, I
audio.
was gonna say, that part, I don't know if we can help. Um, I think something's happening. Oh, there she is. I just add her. Okay. Oh, that didn't seem to work, did it?
Maybe it's being slow about it. Yeah,
Oh,
it
it's
did.
slow. It's slow. Okay. Are you there, Venetia?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Ah, hello. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm in my junior year, and I'm kind of having trouble deciding where to go next. So I know I want to do gaming, and I'm currently on the pathway at my college to pursue software engineering. And I've done the data structures and the math classes and everything, but I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to incorporate what I've learned in the classroom into a way that's presentable to obtain an internship or a position in the gaming field.
Yeah, I think especially when you are like on your junior and sophomore years, like gaming companies are way more open to just have generalists, right? Like you don't have to have very specific knowledge about gaming to be able to show it, but it definitely helps a lot if you have the interest and you show like personal projects. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I was saying at the beginning, I don't know if you were here, that like having projects for written on Unity or Unreal, or even like a small
Mhm.
game that you create using whatever programming language, a mobile game, for example, or a web game. Those are probably the easiest to get started on. Uh, Showing those helps usually a lot to bring more visibility into like she actually has an interest into this industry and it's not just software in general. I mean, I don't know how other companies do it. Like my experience has been in Microsoft all the time, so maybe Aisha can talk about like Intel and how they pick interns. But over here is just a general pool of people, and then they really just look at I don't know, your excitement, your skills,
Mm-hmm.
how you are presenting yourself, and then they select interns, and then based on their interests, they try to help them to get to the products that they really like. I don't know, that being office, machine learning, data scientists, or gaming.
Mm-hmm.
So many people apply, obviously, that not all of them get to that. But what I've seen also in the past is that some people have gotten an internship starting like 1 year. They do an internship in Azure, let's say, and then they do a really good job. And then that gives you way more opportunities on getting an internship next time, not only at Microsoft, but on other companies. And usually you get even more saying on like what is it that you want to work on. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree with the as far as the internships, I think it's always good to try to get yourself start your get into the space of creating your own content and posting that and putting it in your resume, right? um that as you're starting out, nobody expects you to have 10 years or 20 years of gaming experience, but they would like to see that you're off working on little projects here and there, and that something that you can, you obviously want to show them, and tell them maybe in an interview, like, I'm very excited to learn about this and work in this space. But that is a way you can show them, right, that you've been working in the space and you are actively working in the space, and you're very interested in learning and working in that area. So that's, yeah. Does that help answer your question as far as your
Yes.
original question?
Thank you
Okay.
so much for your feedback.
Yeah, no worries. No worries at all.
I would also add, just that popped in my head, is that
Sure.
like if there are any courses on your college that are specific to game development. I've seen more and more colleges
Mhm.
doing that. Like my college back when I did it, like they had nothing to
Oh,
do
okay.
with game development. But I know that more colleges do it now. And
Mhm.
like, for example, a previous intern that I had, I know that helped her a lot actually to get her internship because she took a course on, it was very specific. It was surprising, like network development for games,
Oh,
and they
wow.
learned how to basically like build multiplayer games, and that helped her get the internship in Minecraft. So
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really good.
seems
Okay.
like Sophia.
Oh, yes. Can add her on. There's a little delay there. Hi, Sophia.
Hi, thanks for doing this. Okay, so I have a question. I'm coming from another industry. I have over 10 years experience as a sound engineer for concerts. And I went to boot camp, a coding boot camp, to learn how to code. And I've been working like small contracts, 6 months at a time, for
Oh no, I cannot hear you anymore.
Oh, yeah, you went mute.
um,
Oh,
thankful for. But I really want to get into games. um, and I feel like my projects are not, I guess, they're not game projects. They're like more of what I had to do for my contract. And there's some stuff that I can't share with, because they're from the company. So I'm kind of stuck. Like, should I make more projects specifically for game development? Like, should I make a game engine, or should it be more
Sure, I
specific than
think
that?
it definitely,
Some
yeah, I
basic
think it definitely helps a
points
lot.
on that.
Having projects, especially depends on what stage of your career you're at. I've noticed. Personally, I've noticed that as you are more junior, they usually like do not, you need less proof basically, right? Because they understand that you are starting your experience, but it definitely helps a lot to have like small projects to show. As you are farther on your career, and if you are trying to apply, for example, let's say, I don't know, senior position or something, that's when they ask you to show more. And if you haven't worked on the game industry, I mean, there are still ways to get in. Like, for example, just thinking about Minecraft, we have the gameplay team, right? Where they will ask you to show, if not experience on the industry, to have projects like that are specific about building gameplay. But you can also get into the game industry. Like we have also like our Realms service team, for example. They ask people there that know about writing services. You don't need to know a lot about writing games for being on that team, for example. So you don't need to be specifically a game developer to be on the games industry, if that makes sense. Because there's definitely many places, especially nowadays, that games tend to not be just one, like ship it and go, like Minecraft. It is a service that we continuously make updates, so there are many moving pieces. So over there in those kinds of teams, like your kind of experience doesn't uh, yeah, doesn't put you out of the pool of people that could be considered. But regarding what you were saying about the projects, if they should be like general or specific, I would say like if you want to build a game engine, like that would be amazing. I think few people can actually achieve that. But it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be that complex of a project, right? Like it can definitely be more tailored to what you want to specialize on. If you really want to be like an AI programmer, you could create a project specifically where like you build a pathfinding algorithm for mobs or something. And you could even leverage like some existing template on Unity or something and just write the algorithms yourself and say like, I did this and it was optimized. If you want to be a graphics engineer, you could have like demos about, I don't know, complex graphics algorithms that you wrote. It doesn't have to be even in a game. You could just showcase the technology that you build. Again, and a friend, for example, loves physics, and he has shown like just has made projects that are not connected to a game, where it's just like simulating hair or clothing, for example. So it can be as specific or general as you want. I would have to say, at least for me, it is fun just seeing the projects that are just Encompass, which is a mini game that shows even like your design skills as well. Like I wrote a mini game that I think a friend, what was it? His portfolio showcased like a mini game. I think you had to feed dogs somehow, and you won. I don't know. It's fun. It wasn't a complicated game, but he was able to list, this is what I thought, this is how I designed it. So it definitely helps a lot, especially the farther along you are in your career if you don't have games experience.
Good. Okay, I see another question here. How have you guys dealt with feelings of imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome. Okay, so I'll take a stab at that. I think that's a very complex issue, but I feel like we, in the professional world, are now starting to be aware of it. I think companies are more aware of this now. Um, I think there is a lot of, I would say, conversations with just overall employee, trying to make sure that employees are happy. Obviously, your company wants to make sure that you're happy and engaged and doing good work. And they're realizing now, I think, more recently, there's been more discussions around bring your authentic self to work, right? I think when you maybe early in your career, it's not that obvious, and maybe there aren't enough discussions around that, but I feel like when you're first starting out, your goal is to kind of just, go and fill a gap, right? And so maybe you make some assumptions about what type of person do they need me to be and that kind of thing. And I think initially, of course, you want to try to, please your employer just to get in the door and show them that you're doing good work. But eventually, you always have to. I think it's very important to keep yourself be very in tune with what you're really, what you're really about, what you're trying to achieve, and how you're achieving your goals. Right? I think everybody has their own kind of like set of values. And there's various ways to untap and unleash and try to figure out what those values are. I think there are, things like strength finders and Myers-Briggs and those kind of things. Those are things that I think, initially when I started off in my career, I studied materials engineering and I started as an engineer, and I just kind of really just ignored kind of all of the soft skills and those kind of conversations because I was so focused on the technical side, right? And I think those are things that you need to keep. You need to always have, keep a good pulse of where your mindset is and what your values are and what things are what they call exciters and your motivators. Because what'll happen is you'll start to drift farther and farther away from your value system, and then you'll find yourself unhappy in your job and you don't know why, right? And so I think that is that may be maybe that's just one example, right? But I think that divergence of like what your true value system is and your work and the space that you're working in, I think if they start to diverge too much, then you feel like you're almost like, what am I doing here, right? And that's the root of imposter syndrome. It's more of like, I feel like I have to fake it to make it kind of thing, is because you're stepping away from your value system. So you just have to kind of try to keep very aware, do those aptitude tests, do those tests just to keep yourself in very aware of what your values are, and make sure that you're working on things that excite you, right? If you're waking up to go to work and every day it takes you like an hour to get out of bed, there's something wrong there, right? So those are things that need to be addressed, and you need to like kind of tap into yourself and start to figure out why those things are happening. Do you have anything on that, Fanny, that you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would say that I actually, to this day, I suffer imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Like didn't even know it was a thing until a couple of years, right? When I
Ah,
saw an article about, like, oh, I think that's something that I suffer from. But I would have to say it's something very similar to what Aisha
mhm,
was saying. It's just what has helped me is trying to come back and think like what are the accomplishments that I've had, right? If I'm here, it's because of something that I've done. It's not like just out of luck that like
mhm,
things have been happening to me and that's where I am.
right,
If you are like at, I don't know, the first year of college and you have passed all your classes, I mean, that was you. So it's not forgetting that like you have actually done things to be where you are. Like somehow you got to college, like no one paid for you to be there.
right,
um, so yeah, don't lose sight of what you actually are good at. We tend to focus on the negative things. We tend to focus on, oh, I don't know that thing. And that's the other thing. It's fine to know no things. Like that's something that I have had, like I continuously every day I have to like come to terms with the fact that I do not know one thing. and it
yeah,
and it's fine. Like you are not supposed to know everything. Like I'm leading now a team of like 19 people, and like it gets even more complicated to know the things because there's a lot going on, and it
well,
is like each person knows their own piece really well. And then it is up to me to reach out to them and learn from them about the details. And I mean, something that someone told me is like, if you are, what was the phrase? Like, if you are not learning, like if you don't have, at the end of the day, you're done with all your job and you don't have any to-dos or anything to learn, like you are probably on a boring job.
Mhm.
Like that's not the state that you want to be on. Like you want to be continuously learning. So I would say those are the two things that have helped me a lot. Realize that I do not need to know everything, and that it's just growing. You continuously grow
Mhm.
and learn. And then second one, just continuously remind me that I know there are things that I've done to be here. It's not the magically I showed up here. And it has helped a lot to have someone that also reminds you of that, like have someone to talk about it. Like for me, it's my husband. Like when I was on the quality team and someone offered me to go to the work on the actual like game, it was super scary for me. I didn't want to do it because I thought I wasn't capable of. And the only reason why I did is because my husband was like, "This is what you've always wanted. Why are you even thinking about it? I don't understand." Like, and I told him, right? I talked with him. I don't think I have the skills. I don't think it's something I can do. And I would be just scared. And I also love my team. Like that was another reason. I don't want to leave my team. Like I built such a good relationship with them. And like he pushed me, like it's something that you want, like what's the worst that can happen? And that's another thing that has helped me. I read a book about it. About like really think about what's the worst that can happen and come to terms with it. Like what would be your plan if that happens? And also don't be realistic when thinking about what's the worst that can happen. Like don't think that, I don't know, you will end up and die or something, because I've read, I don't know if it's true, that some of us at least tend to be more, I don't know, uh, we let our imagination go farther than it's actually realistic. So that's the other thing. Like come up with a plan of what would be the worst that would happen. Like, and if you make it, it was because you did things well. And if someone is offering you that job, it's because like they saw something in you. So yeah, try to see the things other people are seeing on you. I don't know. I could probably continue going on because there's people that have helped me a lot with this, but
Yeah,
it is a daily learning.
yeah, for sure. Continuous learning. That's the theme, I think, today, right?
Yes. So, do you ladies have a favorite project that you have worked on?
Oh, wow. I'll let you go first.
Hmm.
Oh,
I would say probably the one that I'm currently working on. It's very exciting for me because one of the parts that I really love about Minecraft is the community. And on my current job, get to work very closely with the creator community. Um, and yeah, I just love talking to them. I I think a lot of games are famous for their community being very toxic, and I'm very happy that Minecraft is not like that. Obviously, there's all sorts of people everywhere, but they are so just happy and grateful for anything that you help them with, and just talking with them, and then they are super willing to give you ideas. And if I'm designing a feature, I'm like, I don't know how this should work, and I reach out to one of them like, what do you think about this? They will write an essay for me about why it is important that it works in a certain way. So just having that connection with the community, I really love it. And I would say that my current job I really like because of that.
that's great. I would have to say my favorite project in my whole career was probably when I worked on the virtual reality team. We actually had a project where we were helping a vendor with an Olympics app. It's a mixed reality Olympics app for the Pyeongchang Olympics in 2018. So that was pretty exciting. It's just being in the same meeting with like people from this vendor. I can't name the vendor, but the from the vendor, and like broadcasting clients and that kind of thing is really exciting. So yeah, but those are cherished memories for sure. So yeah. All right, so let me go back because I think, okay, it's my turn, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, how do you find a mentor when you're new to the industry? Hmm. Well, I can say it depends on your, in if you're looking for a mentor inside your company or not. I mean, I know at Intel we have lots of mentoring, portals you can join, and then they assign you mentors and that type of thing. If you're looking for a mentor outside of a company, the best way is to just use your network, right? And start asking around, like LinkedIn, if you have people in LinkedIn, and don't be shy. That's the one thing I think that, if you don't have like, a company mentored program where you literally just fill out a form and then someone contacts you. If you don't have that, that's okay. But I think you just have to kind of get over the shyness factor, and you'd be surprised at how flexible people will can be, even if you meet with them, monthly, every other month, based on their availability. And I'm a big subscriber in having different types of mentors. I'm a program manager, so I have senior level program managers that are my mentors as well, and I also have technical people like software engineers who are also mentors of mine as well. So it's good to mix it up, based on what type of insights that you want to glean from them.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Fanny?
I would say uh, the one that is easiest for me, like just reading Bonesha saying that her shyness is her biggest obstacle, like
Yeah.
100% me.
Yeah.
I I still consider myself an introvert, and like one of the advices that they gave me in my college that I should do a lot is go to GDC, the Game Developers Conference that
Mhm.
happens in San Francisco every year. I mean, obviously not when there are pandemics, but usually they happen around March every year, and it's a great place to network and find a
Mhm.
lot of people.
Yeah.
They keep telling you that. I don't know how true it is because, like I said, I was very shy and I really didn't take advantage of those conferences because they tell you should go to every booth, talk to people, meet them, show them your projects, give them your resume. And I cannot tell you how many of my like college mates, my classmates, they actually got jobs like that. Like they got to booths, they gave their resumes, they got an interview, and they got in. I'm like, wow. That
Yeah.
wasn't me. I would go to even the parties that someone told me that was exist and everything. I would just sat there in a corner, not talking to everyone. Like, why did I even come here? I don't know. So if you are on the personality of being an extrovert, I definitely recommend you taking advantage of conferences like GDC, the Grace Hopper Conference. Um, Going to career fairs and everything. But even if you're shy, I mean, you can make it. You don't have to go talk to every single person on a booth. But
Yeah.
like, I did reach out to like someone that I saw from EA, and that got me an interview, for
Um,
example. And
yeah.
you can build your network like that.
Mhm.
It is really important to have a network of people that you know. And you can even end up making friends like that, and it doesn't have to even be a formal mentor. If you have like the greatest advice or like realizations that I've had have been with just people that are on the same level as me and situation, and just talking about how how they feel about things, realizing that other people are going through the same things as you are, or they may have recently gone through something like that or met someone that did. Like you don't have to be a like find the super ideal mentor, but I would say in general, just the easiest way to find a mentor is probably just finding someone on your close teams. They usually do not recommend like your mentor being someone on your team, but if it is someone on like a very close team or something that you have to collaborate with a lot, like that can be enough. And they usually like asking your manager, for example, like, is there someone that I can connect to that knows a lot about this and this? Like that's another great way to find someone as well.
Cool.
I think it's my turn
Yes.
to read. Uh, so Cherie, and I hope I'm not butchering your name. any discussion forums or groups you would recommend as a platform to ask those questions? Can you clarify what kind of questions did you mind? Or do you know, Aisha?
Um, discussions, you know, I think there's lots of different types of these discussion forums. Are we thinking like inside of a platform? Like I can think of some inside the platform of like even LinkedIn, right? I don't know if students are even using LinkedIn, are they? I'm just going to assume that you guys are. 'Cause it's been a while since I've been a student. So, but yes, I mean, that's the one that jumps out at me. I guarantee you, if you Google like gaming discussion forums, you're gonna get a nice gigantic list. So I'm not sure there's one that I would recommend or gravitate towards. How about you, Penny?
So I think Sherry says questions like problems with programming, how to advance in the field.
Oh,
Uh, so I would say problems with programming, like if you're talking specifically, I want to learn this and I'm stuck with this and I don't know how to do it. If you haven't used Stack Overflow, that's the best way to get like advice on how to implement something or anything. People are great at answering questions there.
mhm,
And I would say on the how to advance on the field, definitely LinkedIn, I would agree with as well. Yeah, I don't know if anything else. I mean, I already consider myself a nerd person because like social media, I don't know what that is. But I've heard that Reddit is great also for all sorts of topics, right? Like
mhm,
my husband does use it and like you can find forums for all sorts of like obscure topics or anything, and I'm sure you could
mhm.
find something there as well. And also attending these kinds of conferences, I guess, because you can just freely ask questions and it's a safe environment where anyone cannot just ask questions.
Okay. I saw a question before that, I think. What's the best way to prepare for coding interviews? I am going to punt that to you, Fanny.
Yeah, that's fine. I would say a couple of things. One of them is just look up online. That is very easy to just literally just say programming questions, and there are
Mhm,
several sites that just have a ton
mhm,
and ton of samples. And like just practicing several of them just gets you in the mindset because all of them are not about knowing exactly how to solve them. What you want to train for is the approach that you take to the problem, right? Like how to think about the problem is what is important just in general in programming. I think most problems you have just to take the same approach. Which is basically just training your logic, and you tend to start seeing the patterns. So just doing a bunch of coding questions that you find online, I think helps a lot. There are even books full of like coding questions that we compile from Google and Microsoft and Amazon and etc. So that
yeah.
that is a way to do it. The other thing that I would say is that is, I guess, not how to prepare, but just advice in general for interviews. The number one thing that helps a lot with coding interviews is think out loud. Never just stay there and like stare at the problem. And maybe you are thinking about it and like you have already like five different solutions or something, trying to think what is the best. But the other
Mhm,
person that is interviewing doesn't know that that's going on in your head. So something that's super, super important is that as you are thinking about the problem, try to talk while you are thinking. Like, oh, right now I'm thinking that maybe sorting it this way would be possible. Oh, but no, actually, that doesn't make sense. And just that helps a lot because what the interviewer should be looking for is the way that you think and the approach to problems, not necessarily that you have the perfect answer. Um, and that also gives them the cue of where you are stuck, where they can like give you more hints or requirements or anything. And it also helps with like them asking you questions to get to know more about like the way that you think.
mhm,
And the last thing that I can think of is practice a lot. Uh, there is a friend like he surprises me, like he impresses me. He says that like an interviewing is a skill, it's a muscle. Like no one
Mhm.
is just perfect at it, to be honest. It's hard. I hate interviewing, and doing interviews is just hard. But it's a muscle that you build as you interview people and are interviewed. So if you are comfortable with that, like this friend, what he does is that every year, even though he's not looking for a job, he will go and interview at least once, just so that he doesn't forget about what the experience is. I particularly do not do that, but if that's something that you're comfortable with, do it. There's a friend who told me that she doesn't like doing that because she being rejected is a big fear for her, and it actually puts her down instead of like helping. So if you feel like that, practice with a friend, just like asking them to ask you questions. If there's someone that knows about the topic, is better because they can actually ask you questions. Practice with someone that you trust, but really practicing it helps a lot. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to just emphasize three things that I think I captured from your response, Fanny, and that was yes, for sure. Um, when you're asked a question in an interview, do not be scared of, don't be scared of silence. It's perfectly appropriate to pause and think about what your response is going to be. Actually, I recommend it. um, because sometimes you'll start to go down a path and you're like, how, and then inside your head you're like, how did I get down this path? I don't even know what I'm saying, right? You don't want to get caught in having too much internal dialogue. As you're saying it, you're like, oh wait, that's not really where I wanted to go, right? So definitely pause. That's one piece. um, if you see some guidance online on how to answer specific questions, I think that's fine, but make sure that you think about it and internalize it. And then when you're ready to discuss it in an interview, they want to see your approach. They don't want to see that exact answer. They want to see how you would answer it. So try to personalize it and think about how you would do it. And you can use that reference as a guideline, but definitely put your spin on it. This is why they need to hire you, is because they want your specific they want your skill set coming from you, right? And the practice thing, like I couldn't agree more with that piece, Fanny, as far as yes. I mean, I almost want to tell people, like, don't go interview for your dream job as your first interview. Please don't do that. Like, almost just go kind of try to line up a couple interviews first and get those under the belt, because you will see that you'll start to kind of flow with your elevator pitch. That's something that I highly recommend as well. Sometimes in the interview they'll just tell you, oh, tell me about yourself, tell me about your why you want this job and stuff, and you have to be able to answer that, right? So just kind of internalize again that's in a personal approach. Don't go Google how to answer that question. That needs to be from you, right? Like, why do you think they should hire you, and why do you want to work there? Those are very important to be able to be ready to answer. And if they give you options at the end of the interview to, do you have any questions for us? Turn those questions into an opportunity to continue to sell yourself, right? you know, I, how can somebody like me who really likes to, do create content on the side, excel at this job, that kind of thing. I mean, ask those kind of questions. How can I excel in my first 100 days? Like, don't even think about, the piece of them making a decision. You start talking about your first 100 days. I mean, be bold. That's what they need.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. So I saw one from Sophia who says, like, I'm scared of coming off as too self-serving if I say, can you be my mentor? And I don't know if anyone would think that, but one thing that someone recommended me is that if you are going to start a mentor
Mhm.
relationship, it's usually preferable if it's not like open-ended. I don't know if that's true for everyone, but if you like basically say like these are the three things that I'm trying to get help with, like, and then establish basically the I don't know, contract of your relationship. Like, can we meet every week? Can we speak for an hour every month or something? That way, like, and ask them basically how would they want to help you, so that it's not just about please help me, help me, help me. And also show, someone told me that as well. I don't know if I agree, but like if you have like a limit or like an end goal, it can help that person say, oh, I can help them with this, and then they'll be fine or something. But I think it's fine to just approach someone and be honest about like what are the kinds of things that you would like to help with, and like why do you admire them, and why do you think like they could be a great mentor for you.
Yeah, I think I wanted to add that, and I was like typing it away, but you should like, you have to be, I think it's important that, even if you're shy, you're asking someone to be your mentor. It doesn't mean that you're asking them to commit to, a time slice every week. You can be flexible. You can both work out some agreement on how often, right? It's really just more of you, like, you're wanting to learn. And I question somebody who says, no, I can't be your mentor. I'm like, what do you mean? So I mean, especially when people want to learn and that kind of thing. I mean, yes. And if they can't be your mentor, don't be scared to hear no. Maybe they can, I'm hoping that if they're going to say no, that they would at least help you find somebody, right? So I think we only have a few minutes left here, but I will let the moderators confirm that. So yes, feel free to plop in some more questions, and we'll just go to the very end.
There is one from Sophia. What do you look for in an incoming programmer that will make them a valuable addition to your team?
That's a good question.
Yes, let me think about that. um, let's say, I think, especially when it's a junior engineer, what you're looking for is that they have the, I don't know how to say it, that they are proactive on learning, that they will not be afraid of asking questions. It sucks when someone is like stuck for 3 days because they didn't know how to do something and they were afraid to reach out for help. Like, I don't know, if you're in a good team, please could run away if there is a team that they don't want to help you with your questions. So don't be afraid of asking questions. Don't get stuck for too long. And the other thing is that basically is something I was trying to figure out, like if an intern was a good hire or not. And my manager told me, like, have you seen them being able to unblock themselves? Like, are they capable on looking around the code and understanding, or looking up online if they didn't know something, or reaching out to someone? For a junior engineer, that's the most important one. And I think that is true. Like, you don't want someone that will just get completely blocked by a problem and not make progress. And doesn't matter what means you use. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about. And like, having the programming logic obviously is useful, but I think at the end of a bachelor's degree, almost everyone has that. What you want to have is being able to collaborate with your team. I don't know, Aisha, if you know what you interview for. I'm not sure
Yeah,
about.
that's a tough one. I would say
Yes.
this though. It's probably a good idea. I have a family member that's in HR, and she collects all of the feedback from the hiring managers on the candidates, what they're looking for, what they didn't like, so it might be good to like reach out to an HR person in and try to see if you can get some information from them, because I feel like they're a wealth of knowledge, and very they kind of fly under the radar as far as people you should have in your network. But I think that's a good piece of information. I might reach out to one myself. I mean, I have one already, my cousin, but yes, so that's useful.
Good evening, ladies.
Oh, Keisha, hi.
I am Keisha Walker, founder and chairwoman of the Black Collegiate Gaming Association and Women Got Game. I just wanted to say thank you. You all have been amazing. I so appreciate your time today and all the information you've been sharing with the young ladies that are a part of the session. We're also recording this, so we'll be sharing this across our BCGA YouTube and social media accounts. And we're going to be sending this out in a thank you email to the 400 plus women that signed up and registered today. So we're so excited that you decided to share your Saturday with us, your Women's History Month, and more importantly, making history with us for our first event, celebrating and honoring and uplifting women of color. And I thank you, because the information you're sharing today is going to help empower and direct some ladies on where and what direction they should go in as they continue to hopefully be success stories like both of you. And Catherine, thank you so much for facilitating. And we so appreciate you. Intel, Mojang, thank you. Your Intel is a partner with all of BCGA as well as today. And so we thank you all and so salute everything you've done with us. And Mojang, we're looking forward to creating a long relationship with you, because you all have been amazing all day today.
So great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
you
for
all.
all the
And
questions and
please
organizing.
enjoy the rest of your weekend. I look forward to connecting and seeing you again soon.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
ladies.
Thank you. Thank
Oh yeah,
you,
please
Keisha.
continue and enjoy.